The U.S. Prometheus floated silently in the darkness of space, its massive hull gleaming under the distant starlight. At 3 kilometers long, it was humanity's most advanced battleship, though few outside Earth's military knew its true capabilities. Captain David Russell stood on the bridge, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he gazed at the holographic display showing the surrounding sector. Captain, long-range sensors are picking up unusual activity near Colony 7. First Officer Linda Martinez reported, her fingers dancing across the control panel. Her dark hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, and her brown eyes narrowed as she studied the readings. "Show me," Russell ordered, his voice calm but firm. After 20 years of space combat experience, he had learned that staying calm was half the battle. The main screen lit up with data streams. Chief Engineer Robert Wilson rushed onto the bridge, his usually clean uniform showing signs of the maintenance work he'd been doing in the engine room. "Sir, you need to see this. The energy signatures. They're nothing like we've seen before." Before Russell could respond, the ship's AI, Annie, spoke through the bridge speakers. "Alert. Colony 7 is transmitting a distress signal. Multiple unknown vessels have entered their space. Energy readings suggest hostile intent." Russell's jaw tightened. Colony 7 was home to over 20,000 civilians, families who had traveled to the stars looking for a better life. He wouldn't let them down. "Battle stations," he commanded. The bridge lights dimmed to combat red as klaxons sounded throughout the massive ship. "Annie, show me the colony's location relative to our position." A 3D star map appeared, showing the Prometheus and a blinking red dot marking Colony 7. They were the closest military vessel that could respond. "Time to arrival at maximum FTL," Russell asked. 17 minutes, 4 seconds, Annie replied instantly. "Sir," Linda spoke up, her voice tense. "The unknown vessels. They're firing on the colony. Initial analysis suggests they're Zarkak ships." The bridge crew fell silent. Everyone had heard of the Zarkak's empire, but this was humanity's first direct contact with them. They were known throughout the galaxy as conquerors who believed themselves superior to all other life forms. "Engineering, give me everything you've got," Russell ordered through the ship's comm. "Tactical, begin weapons warm-up sequence. Medical, prepare for casualties." Robert's voice came back over the comm. "Aye, Captain. Pushing the engines to 110%. The old girl can take it." As the Prometheus prepared to jump to FTL, Russell watched the tactical display showing 3 Zarkak's cruisers attacking the defenseless colony. Their energy weapons were cutting through the civilian shields like paper. Annie analyzed their attack patterns. "Find me weaknesses," Russell ordered as he sat in his command chair. "Linda, send word to Fleet Command. Let them know we're engaging." "Sir," Linda hesitated for a moment. "Fleet Command's response will take hours to reach us. We'll be on our own." Russell nodded grimly. "Then we'll have to be enough." He keyed the ship-wide comm. "All hands, this is the captain. We are about to engage an unknown hostile force attacking our people. I know this ship and this crew. We've trained for this. Today, we show them why humanity reached the stars. Today, we show them why they should have left our people alone." The crew's response was immediate as status reports flooded in from all departments. Weapons were ready. Shields were at maximum. The medical bay was prepared. Every man and woman aboard knew their duty. "FTL jump in 5 seconds," Annie announced. Russell gripped his chair's armrests. "Take us in." The massive engines of the Prometheus roared to life, tearing a hole in space itself. The battleship disappeared in a flash of light, racing to the rescue of Colony 7. As they traveled through FTL, Russell studied the tactical data on the Zarkak ships. They were about to learn a harsh lesson about humanity. No one threatened human colonies, not while the Prometheus was on watch. "Arrival in 30 seconds, Annie reported. Russell leaned forward in his chair. "Battle stations. All hands, prepare for combat." Let's show these aliens why you don't mess with humanity. The Prometheus emerged from FTL like an avenging angel, its massive form casting a shadow over the surprise Zarkax vessels. The battle for Colony 7 was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Prometheus burst into normal space, its massive hull gleaming against the backdrop of Colony 7's blue-white planet. Tactical Officer Brian Foster's hands flew across his console as he assessed the situation. 3 Zarkax cruisers, Captain, he reported. They're still firing on the colony's shields. Shield strength at 15% and falling. Captain Russell didn't waste a second. Target the closest cruiser. Annie. Analyze their shield frequencies. The ship's AI responded instantly. Analysis complete. Their shields operate on a different principle than ours. They appear to have never encountered human weapons technology. A thin smile crossed Russell's face. That's their first mistake. Weapons, load kinetic rounds. The Zarkax ships finally noticed the Prometheus. Their sleek, purple-hulled vessels turned towards the human battleship, energy weapons charging. A transmission cut through the bridge speakers, a harsh, clicking language that Annie quickly translated. They're ordering us to surrender or be destroyed, Linda Martinez said from her station. Standard Zarkax greeting, apparently. Let's send our own greeting, Russell replied. Brian, fire when ready. The Prometheus's main guns roared to life. Instead of energy beams, they fired solid tungsten rounds accelerated to near light speed. The Zarkax shields, designed to stop energy weapons, might as well have been tissue paper. The first round tore through the nearest cruiser's shield and punched a clean hole through its engine section. The alien ship's lights flickered and died as it began to drift. Direct hit, Brian called out. Their shields had no effect on our kinetic weapons. The remaining 2 Zarkax ships reacted with surprise, their energy weapons firing wildly at the Prometheus. The human battleship's shields held firm, absorbing the attacks with ease. Their weapons are strong, Robert Wilson reported from engineering, but our shields were designed to handle this kind of energy. We can take it. Russell nodded. Annie, target their weapons arrays. Let's disable rather than destroy if we can. The Prometheus moved with surprising grace for its size, its next volley of shots precisely striking the weapon emplacements on both enemy ships. The Zarkax vessels tried to maneuver, but they were too slow compared to the human ship's advanced targeting systems. Sir, Linda called out, I'm picking up transmissions between the Zarkax ships. They're calling us. They're calling us demons. They've never seen a ship that could ignore their weapons like this. The bridge crew shared knowing looks. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for space combat, learning from their own violent history. The Zarkax were learning the hard way that humans were not easy prey. Captain, Brian reported, the damaged ships are powering up their faster-than-light drives. They're trying to escape. Russell stood from his chair. Let them go. They'll spread the word. But first, he turned to Linda. Send them a message. This is your only warning. Human colonies are off limits. Next time, we won't be so merciful. As the Zarkax ships limped away into FTL, the bridge crew burst into cheers. Their first real combat test had ended in a decisive victory. But Russell wasn't celebrating yet. Medical teams to the colony. Robert hit damage control teams ready to help repair their infrastructure. Brian, keep our weapons hot. They might come back with friends. Dr. Emma Parker's voice came over the comm from the medical bay. We're ready to receive casualties, Captain. How bad is it? The colony shields held, thanks to our timing, Russell replied. But they'll need help rebuilding their defenses. As the Prometheus moved to protect the colony, Annie's sensors detected something concerning. Captain, the Zarkax ships sent out a long-range transmission before they fled. Based on the signal strength, they were calling for reinforcements. Russell nodded grimly. As expected, Linda, get me Fleet Command. They need to know we've just made first contact with the Zarkax, and that it didn't go well. The crew worked efficiently to help the colony, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The Zarkax wouldn't take this humiliation lightly. They would return, and next time they would bring more ships. But as Russell watched his crew work, he felt pride rather than worry. The Prometheus had proven itself in its first real battle. They had shown the aliens that humanity wasn't just another species to conquer. "Sir," Linda spoke up, "the colony leader wants to thank you personally." "Tell them thanks aren't necessary," Russell replied. "We protect our own. That's what humanity does." He paused, looking at the stars through the bridge viewport. "And soon, the whole galaxy will know it." 3 days after the battle at Colony 7, news of the Prometheus spread like wildfire across alien communication channels. Captain Russell sat in his ready room, watching reports from different alien worlds on his screen. "Annie, show me the latest Zarkax broadcast again," he ordered, rubbing his tired eyes. The screen filled with images of the Prometheus, but heavily edited to make the human ship look like a monster. The Zarkax narrator called it the demon ship and claimed humans used forbidden weapons. Linda Martinez entered the ready room with a fresh cup of coffee for her captain. "They're scared, sir. No one has ever beaten their ships so easily before." "Fear makes people do stupid things," Russell replied, taking a grateful sip. "Or in this case, aliens." The ship's doctor, Emma Parker, requested permission to enter. She looked worried as she walked in, holding a medical tablet. "Captain, I finished studying the colonists who were hit by Zarkax weapons. It's worse than we thought." She showed them scans of the wounds. "Their weapons don't just burn. They poison." If we hadn't arrived when we did, she didn't need to finish the sentence. Russell's face hardened. "They're not just conquerors. They're trying to wipe out anyone who isn't them." The room fell silent as this news sank in. Annie's voice broke the quiet. "Captain, incoming transmission from Fleet Command. Priority 1. The screen changed to show Admiral Johnson's stern face. "Captain Russell, your encounter with the Zarkax has stirred up a hornet's nest. Our long-range sensors show they're gathering ships. A lot of ships." "How many?" Russell asked. "At least 30 cruisers, maybe more. They're calling in their fleet from every corner of their empire." But that's not all. The Admiral's image was replaced by a star map showing different colored dots. Other alien species are picking sides. Some are terrified of us after the battle. Others, well, it seems the Zarkax have been bullying a lot of people. These others want our protection. Robert Wilson's voice came over the comm. "Captain, you need to see this. Engineering now." Russell found his chief engineer in the engine room, standing next to a strange device. "One of the friendly alien species sent us this," Robert explained. "It's their version of our sensor technology. If we combine it with ours, we could track the Zarkax fleet." Russell finished the thought. "Good work, Robert. Get it installed." Back on the bridge, Brian Foster was tracking multiple signals. "Sir, the Zarkax Emperor himself just made an announcement. He's demanding we hand over the Prometheus. Says if we don't, they'll attack every human colony they can find." Russell walked to the center of the bridge. The crew watched him, waiting for his response. He pressed the button for ship-wide communication. "This is your captain speaking. By now you've all heard the Zarkax threats. They think they can bully us into giving up this ship. They think if they gather enough ships, we'll be scared." He paused, looking at his brave crew. "They don't understand humanity very well, do they?" Scattered laughter filled the bridge. "The Prometheus was built to protect Earth and her colonies. That's exactly what we're going to do. And if the Zarkax want to learn another lesson about fighting humans, we'll be happy to teach them." Linda turned from her console. "Sir, we're getting messages from other human ships. They're all heading our way. The nearest is 4 days out." "Then we have 4 days to prepare," Russell replied. "Robert, I want every weapon checked and double-checked. Emma, stock up on medical supplies. Brian, run combat drills. Linda, Keep talking to our new alien friends. We need all the intelligence we can get." As the crew rushed to their tasks, Annie displayed a new message. "Captain, 17 alien species have officially requested human protection against the Zarkax. They're calling us the Guardians." Russell walked to the viewport, watching the stars. The Prometheus had started something bigger than anyone expected. A war was coming, but it wasn't just humanity's war anymore. They were fighting for everyone who had ever been bullied by the Zarkax Empire. "Annie, send a message to the Zarkax Emperor," Russell said quietly. "Tell him the Prometheus and her crew reject his demand. Tell him we don't bow to threats." He smiled slightly. "And tell him we're looking forward to meeting his fleet." The battle at Colony 7 had been just the beginning. The real storm was about to break, and the Prometheus would be right at its center. The space around the Prometheus buzzed with activity. Small ships from 7 different alien species darted back and forth, bringing supplies and information. Captain Russell watched from the bridge as a graceful blue vessel from the Nilarian people docked with their ship. "Another ally?" Linda Martinez asked, standing beside him. "Yes," Russell nodded. "The Nilarians were slaves to the Zarkax for 300 years. They want to help us fight back." Weapons Officer Kevin Matthews rushed onto the bridge, his face excited. "Captain, you need to see this. The Nilarians showed me how their shields work. If we combine their technology with ours—" "Slow down, Kevin," Russell smiled. "Show me." Kevin pulled up a diagram on the main screen. "See, our kinetic weapons work great against Zarkax shields, but they've probably figured that out by now. So I had this idea. We use the Nilarian shield-piercing technology to enhance our bullets. Nothing will be able to stop them." "Make it happen," Russell ordered. "How long?" 2 days, with Robert's help." Annie's voice cut through their conversation. "Captain, incoming transmission from the Zarkax border. Visual available." The screen changed to show a massive fleet of purple Zarkax ships. The sight made everyone on the bridge pause. There weren't 30 ships anymore. There were at least 50. "They're trying to scare us," Linda said quietly. Russell squared his shoulders. "Fear is all they know. Brian, what's our status?" Tactical Officer Brian Foster checked his readings. 4 human ships will arrive tomorrow. The U.S. Liberty, Defiant, Warrior, and Sentinel. All battleships like us. 3 more are a week behind them. "That's not enough," Kevin said, looking at the Zarkax fleet. "Numbers aren't everything," Russell replied. "Annie, show me the list of allied species again." A hologram appeared showing 12 alien races who had joined humanity's side. Each brought their own ships, technology, and knowledge of Zarkax tactics. "The Telzak are sending their stealth ships," Linda reported. "The Morian are sharing their energy weapon designs. The Nilarians know all the Zarkax weak points. We're not alone in this fight." Dr. Emma Parker's voice came over the comm. "Captain, the Nilarian medical officer just showed me something interesting. Their biology is similar to the Zarkax. They know exactly how to treat injuries from Zarkax weapons. Every piece helps." Russell nodded. "Kevin, work with the Telzak too. See if we can hide our kinetic rounds until they're too close to dodge." The next few hours were busy. The Prometheus had become the center of an alliance. Alien engineers worked alongside humans, sharing knowledge and technology. Species that had never trusted each other now worked together against a common enemy. Robert Wilson called from engineering. "Captain, the Morian engineers are amazing. They've helped me boost our engine power by 30%. We'll be faster than any Zarkax ship." "Sir," Brian interrupted, another message from the Zarkax Emperor. The alien leader appeared on screen, his purple scales gleaming. Annie translated his clicks and hisses. "You have 1 day to surrender the demon ship. If you refuse, we will destroy every human colony, every human ship, and every traitor species that stands with you." Russell didn't hesitate. "Send our reply. Come and try." The Emperor's image vanished. Linda looked at her captain. Was that wise? They were going to attack anyway, Russell said. At least now everyone knows where we stand. Annie, shipwide communication. He waited for the channel to open. This is your captain speaking. Tomorrow, we face the largest Zarkax fleet ever gathered. They think numbers will win this fight. They think they can bully us and our allies into giving up. He paused, looking at his crew. But they don't understand what they've done. By threatening all of us, they've united us. Humans, Nilarians, Telzak, Morians, we all stand together now. Every species here has suffered under Zarkak's cruelty. Tomorrow, we show them what happens when the bullied work together. Cheers erupted from every deck of the ship. Even their alien guests joined in. Battle stations in 6 hours. Russell finished. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we make history. As the crew prepared for the coming battle, Russell watched the stars. Tomorrow would change everything. Not just for humanity, but for every species that had ever feared the Zarkax Empire. The battle lines were drawn. Now they just had to win. The trap closed around the Prometheus like a steel jaw. Navigation specialist Amanda Cooper's fingers flew across her console as she counted the enemy ships appearing from hyperspace. 15 Zarkax ships behind us, she shouted. 20 more coming in from the sides. Captain Russell gripped his chair as the ship rocked from enemy fire. It was a trick. They leaked false information about attacking the colonies to draw us here. The Prometheus hung in space, surrounded by purple Zarkax warships. Their allies were hours away, drawn off by other false attacks. They were alone. Shields at 82%, Brian Foster reported from Tactical. They upgraded their weapons, sir. These aren't like the ones we faced before. Linda Martinez's voice was tense. Sir, we've got civilian ships trapped in this sector. The Nilarian medical transport and 2 Telzak refugee ships. They were following us for protection. Russell's jaw tightened. The Zarkax had planned this well. Not only had they trapped the Prometheus, but they'd also endangered innocent people to limit the human ship's options. Robert, how are the engines? Russell called to engineering. They hit us with some kind of energy web. Robert Wilson replied, his voice strained. We can move, but not fast enough for FTL. We're stuck here. More Zarkax ships appeared, their weapons glowing. The enemy commander's face appeared on their screen, mandibles clicking as he spoke. Annie translated. The great demon ship, caught like a small fish. Surrender now, and we might let your civilian friends live. Russell stood from his chair. Options. We could try to break through their lines, Brian suggested, but the civilian ships would be destroyed. Amanda studied her navigation charts. There's a dense asteroid field nearby. If we could reach it, we'd never make it. Linda shook her head. Too many ships in the way. Russell walked to the weapons station where Kevin Matthews was working. Kevin, what about the solar lance? The entire bridge went quiet. The solar lance was the Prometheus's secret weapon, never before used in actual combat. It could destroy half the enemy fleet, but using it would reveal humanity's most advanced technology to the galaxy. It's ready, Kevin said quietly. But sir, if we use it, every alien race will know what we can do, Russell finished, and they'll either fear us or try to steal the technology. He looked at the civilian ships on the screen. But if we don't use it, those people die. Another hit rocked the ship. Shields at 75%, Brian reported. Russell turned to Annie. How many civilians on those ships? Nilarian medical transport has 342 passengers. Telzak refugee ships carry 891 combined. Many are children, the AI responded. The captain nodded slowly. Power up the solar lance. Sir, Linda stepped forward. Once we do this, there's no going back. The peaceful races might stop trusting us. If we let those civilians die when we could save them, Russell replied, we don't deserve their trust anyway. He pressed the ship-wide comm. All hands, braced for solar lance activation. This is not a drill. Kevin's hands moved across his console, entering the complex firing sequence. Solar lance powering up. Ready in 30 seconds. The Zarkak's commander appeared again, looking smug. Annie translated. Your silence means surrender. Russell smiled grimly. No, it means we're done playing nice. He turned to Kevin. Target their flagship. Show them what humanity can really do. Solar lance ready, Kevin reported. Fire. The front of the Prometheus split open like a blooming flower, revealing a massive crystalline structure. Energy from their engines poured into it, making it glow brighter than a sun. The Zarkak ships suddenly tried to retreat, but it was too late. A beam of pure white light shot from the Prometheus, cutting through space itself. When it hit the Zarkak's flagship, the massive ship simply vanished, along with 3 ships behind it. Silence fell across all channels. Every ship, friend and foe, stared at the power they had just witnessed. Target their next largest ship, Russell ordered. Let's see if they want to keep playing. The Zarkak's fleet broke formation, ships scattering in panic. They had expected to trap a powerful warship. Instead, they had cornered something far more dangerous. As the enemy fled, Linda received messages from their civilian allies. Sir, the Narratians and Telzek, they're calling us heroes. They say no one has ever risked revealing military secrets to save civilian refugees before. Russell watched the enemy ships run. Send word to our allies. Tell them what we did and why. Let everyone know. Humanity will always protect the innocent, no matter the cost. The trap had failed, and now the galaxy knew just how powerful humanity really was. 3 days after the Solar Lance incident, the space around the Prometheus was filled with ships. But this time, they were friendly. 5 more human battleships had arrived, along with vessels from 24 alien species. Captain Russell stood in the Prometheus's main conference room, surrounded by alien commanders and human captains. The room buzzed with different languages, which Annie translated smoothly for everyone. The Zarkaks are regrouping, Captain Sarah Hughes of the U.S. Liberty reported. Our scouts say they're gathering the largest fleet in their history, over 200 ships. The alien commanders murmured worriedly, but Russell noticed they all looked to him for answers. The Solar Lance incident had changed how they saw humanity. 200 ships or 2,000, Russell said firmly. Numbers didn't help them last time. Chief Engineer Robert Wilson burst into the room, followed by 3 alien engineers, a tall blue Nilarian, a silver-skinned Morian, and a crystalline Telzak. Captain, we did it. Robert's face was bright with excitement. Show them, he said to his alien colleagues. The Morian engineer stepped forward, placing a small device on the conference table. It projected a hologram of shield patterns. We combined technologies, Robert explained. Nilarian shield piercing, Morian energy distribution, Telzak crystal focusing, and human power management. Every ship in our fleet can now be upgraded with these new shields. Nothing the Zarkaks have can break through them. The room erupted in excited conversation. Russell smiled at his engineer. How long to upgrade the fleet? 3 days, Robert replied. We've already started on the Prometheus. Linda Martinez entered with more news. Sir, the Arcadian Empire just contacted us. They're sending 30 ships to join our fleet. This caused another stir. The Arcadians were known for staying neutral in all conflicts. They say the Solar Lance incident proved humanity is different, Linda continued. We had ultimate power but used it to protect civilians. They want to stand with us. Russell nodded. The decision to reveal their secret weapon had gained them more trust than he expected. Captain, Annie's voice came through the speakers. Incoming transmission from the Zarkak's Emperor himself. The Emperor's huge face appeared on the main screen, his purple scales dark with rage. Annie translated his clicking speech. You think your new allies make you strong. We ruled this galaxy before humans learned to make fire. We will crush your fleet and make your species slaves like all the others." Russell stood, facing the screen. "You haven't been paying attention, have you? Look around this room. Every species here was once afraid of you. Now they stand together, sharing technology, helping each other. You didn't just fail to break us. You made us stronger." The Emperor roared in fury and cut the transmission. "Well said," Captain Hughes smiled. "But he's still coming with 200 ships." "Then we better get ready." Russell turned to the gathered commanders. "Robert will coordinate shield upgrades. I want every ship in our fleet protected. Combat drills start in 2 hours. We need to learn to fight together." The alien commanders nodded. They had seen what one human ship could do. Now they would learn to fight like humans too. Over the next 3 days, the combined fleet trained together. Ships that once feared each other now flew in formation, protecting each other's weak spots. Robert and his team worked around the clock, upgrading ship after ship with the new shields. On the final day, Russell stood on his bridge, watching the fleet exercises. Human ships flew alongside alien vessels, moving like they'd trained together for years instead of days. "Sir," Linda reported, "final fleet count: 7 human battleships, 143 allied vessels, all equipped with the new shields. All ships reporting ready for combat," Brian added from Tactical. "The Zarkax fleet will be here in 6 hours." Russell nodded, feeling proud of what they had accomplished. One human ship had started this, but now it was about all of them. Every species working together to end the Zarkax terror forever. "Send to all ships," he ordered. "This is Captain Russell. Tomorrow we face the largest Zarkax fleet ever assembled. But look around you. Every ship you see represents a people who chose to stand up against bullies and tyrants. Apart, they thought us weak. Together, we are unstoppable." The fleet's response came back in dozens of languages, all saying the same thing: "We stand together." The final battle was coming. But this time, the Prometheus wouldn't fight alone. The massive Zarkax fleet appeared exactly where Annie predicted, their purple ships filling the viewport like angry storm clouds. 200 warships, the largest fleet in their empire's history, faced the combined Allied forces. Captain Russell stood on the Prometheus's bridge, his voice calm as he gave orders. Battle formation Delta. Human ships formed the core, Allied vessels on the flanks. The fleet moved smoothly into position. Months of running from the Zarkax were over. Today, they would end this. "Enemy fleet launching fighters," Brian Foster reported from Tactical. "They're trying to overwhelm us with numbers." "Just like we expected," Russell nodded. "Linda, signal the Telzak ships. Time for surprise number 1. The small crystalline ships of the Telzak moved forward. Their special sensors, combined with human targeting systems, could track every fighter perfectly. Their weapons fired, filling space with precise shots that picked off fighter after fighter. The Zarkax Emperor's voice boomed across all channels. "Is this all you have? Small victories against our scouts. Feel the true might of the Empire." The Purple Fleet surged forward, energy weapons blazing. They expected their overwhelming firepower to crush the Allies quickly. Instead, their shots splashed harmlessly against the new combined shields Robert and the alien engineers had created. Not a single Allied ship took damage. "Their weapons are useless," Robert reported proudly from engineering. "The shields are holding perfectly." Russell allowed himself a small smile. "Kevin, show them our surprise number 2. Weapons Officer Kevin Matthews had worked with the Morians to modify their entire fleet's weapons. When the Allied ships fired back, their shots carried the shield-piercing power of Nilarian technology combined with human kinetic rounds. The front line of Zarkax ships crumpled under the assault. Their mighty shields, once the terror of the galaxy, offered no protection. "Enemy fleet is splitting up," Amanda Cooper called from navigation. "They're trying to surround us." "Let them," Russell ordered. "All ships, execute maneuver Rising Sun." The Allied fleet suddenly split into smaller groups, a tactic Russell had taught them. Each group moved with perfect coordination, targeting isolated enemy ships. It was like watching a dance, but with battleships. The Zarkax tried to adapt, but they had always relied on brute force. They didn't know how to handle an enemy that fought smarter instead of harder. "Sir," Linda's voice was excited, "the Emperor's flagship is moving to the front. He's challenging you directly." The massive Zarkax flagship pushed forward, twice the size of the Prometheus. The Emperor's face appeared on their screen again, mandibles clicking in rage. "Face me, demon ship. Let us end this." Russell looked at his crew. They had all trained for this moment. "Kevin, is the solar lance ready?" "Yes, sir, but they'll be expecting it. They've probably prepared defenses." "Good thing that's not our only trick." Russell opened a channel to the whole fleet. "All ships, execute final strike, just like we practiced." The Allied fleet moved as one. Human ships charged their main guns. Telzek vessels linked their crystal weapons. Morian ships powered up their energy cannons. Nilarian ships activated their shield-piercing arrays. "Fire everything," Russell commanded. The combined fleet attacked at the same moment, every ship using weapons that complemented each other. Human kinetic rounds broke through the outer shields. Telzek crystals disrupted their power systems. Morian energy beams overloaded their engines. Nilarian weapons finished them off. The Emperor's flagship, the mightiest ship in the Zarkax fleet, didn't stand a chance. It broke apart under the combined assault, taking their leader with it. Watching their Emperor fall, the remaining Zarkax ships began to retreat. But the Allies weren't finished yet. "All ships, pursue at will," Russell ordered. "The Zarkax Empire ends today." The battle became a rout. Ship after ship surrendered or was destroyed. The empire that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries fell in less than an hour. When it was over, Linda turned to her captain with tears in her eyes. "Sir, we're getting messages from every inhabited world in this sector. They're celebrating in the streets. The Zarkax Empire is really gone." Russell looked at his crew, then at the fleet of allies on his screen. One human ship had started this by standing up to bullies. Now dozens of species had learned to work together, sharing their strengths to overcome a common enemy. "Send to all ships," he said quietly. "Thank you for standing with us. Today marks a new beginning for all our peoples. Together, we can build something better than the Zarkax ever imagined." The Prometheus, the ship that had started it all, floated proudly among its allies. They had done more than win a war. They had shown the galaxy a better way forward. And it all began when a human battleship appeared, and alien worlds shook.